Yes. Okay. तो तुला च तुला
तुला
कोटी.
कोटी.
The discussion that we had stopped was with Sumapriya, Kusumbha Kusumapriya.
Kusuma Priya. Correct. Okay. That is correct. Then it is Totula.
Yes.
Here.
So, um, so the next nama is Totula. Totula comes from the same uh, dhatu or the root to measure. So Totula means one who has the or one who exercises the power to establish the balance. See, the word Tula is referred. It is referred to show that uh, yeah, balance only, right? So in the olden days, we used to have the balance to measure and weigh things. I'm sorry, I have to use my other camera, so I'm not looking into the camera. So Tula is that measure. Totula is the ability to bring forth the balance in the universe. So she is that balancing force. Totula means Devi, who is the balancing force of the universe. Why do we say that she is the balancing force? Because when we remember the the Srishti, how does the Srishti take place? This is a fundamental aspect of the Srishti. So when we call or when we address Shiva as the Spandanatmaka Shakti, the vibrating power, we all know that to vibrate, essentially you require at least 2 points in a plane for the vibration to take place. Okay, which indicates the activity. So these 2 points are normally addressed in the Puranas by various terminologies. Dharma, adharma, sankalpa, vikalpa. So you require a matter and you require also an antimatter. You require two ends of the force. And to keep establishing a balance is the responsibility of the substratum or the Shakti. So she is that Shakti who ensures that for anything to function, the balance is not lost. At times, the tilt may be to either of the one side, but ultimately, the balance should not be lost. All this is reinforced in multiple Puranic legends of, let's say, asuras who gain power, and then that power is balanced by the incarnation of a Devatamsha. All this is referring to the same principle of the force who is responsible for ensuring that there is balance. Very beautifully in the Durga Saptashati, in the second Charitra, we come across an incident where after the Devas are completely tormented by the Mahishasura, they all go to Brahma and Vishnu. And finally, if they are not finding any solution there, they reach Kailasha. There also, they don't have a solution. And that results in a frustration and anger. And that frustration or the anger emerges from the body of all the devas. And that is or that solidifies or no, that unifies in a single point. And the result is the Avirbhava of Mahalakshmi, okay, who finally destroys Mahishasura. So Mahalakshmi is depicted as the sum total of the energy of all the devas. It may appear to be so, but the commentaries by great acharyas show otherwise. They say it's not as if she was created out of the energies emerging from the bodies of the devas. She is the one who is energizing the body of all the devas. It's the other way around. In order to show that she is the primordial cause of all, this Leela no, is being played out. So she is that who gives the Shakti and makes the Devas as Shaktiman. So Devi is that substratum who at every given time ensures that there is a balance in order to maintain equilibrium in the cosmos. So at the end of the uh, 11th adhyaya, she gives the she gives word. Itham yada yada pida danavotha bhavishyati tada tada avatirya karishyami arisankshayam. Whenever you have anything that disturbs the the beauty of the creation from forces which are antithetical to it, I shall manifest myself and do necessary, do what is necessary to restore the balance. So she is that Shakti, therefore she is called as Totula. Next Nama is Tula Kotihi. Tula Koti is the two extremes of the Tula. We have already seen the meaning of the word Koti is end, as we have seen in Kama Koti, Dhanush Koti, etc. So Tula Koti, end of the two sides of the balance. Now, in the yogic parlance, so we have already seen what it means at a cosmic level, what she represents at a cosmic level. But at a yogic level, the Tantragamas, so this information you will not find in Patanjali Yoga Sutra. We have to be very clear when we use the word yoga, because yoga is not one system. There are multiple systems of yoga, which is having a philosophical foundation in uh, in different philosophies or philosophical systems. The normal yoga that we speak of is the Patanjali Yoga or Patanjala Yoga, which um, has the Sankhya Darshana. It's a system of Indian philosophy or Darshana, which is mostly dualistic in nature. Whereas the Shaiva Yoga, based in the Agamas, and there also there are several forms of it. The Hatha Yoga, etc., belongs to a different branch. The yoga that we find in the Natha Sampradaya, which is the Geranda Samhita and others, that is slightly different. So, but there are a lot of commonalities in the system of the yoga which accept the superiority of the Tantragama literature. In all these, we'll find one description about the Shatchakras, and in specialized texts we will know that it is not just that 6 plus 1 7. There is one eighth chakra. This eighth chakra is even below the Muladhara chakra. Okay. So Muladhara is normally the chakra that is the bottommost, okay, in a human body. But this chakra is beneath Muladhara. This is an upward facing thousand petal lotus. Kula Padma, it is called. And the Sahasrara is the downward facing thousand petaled lotus. So in any of the diagrams, uh, if you see Sahasrara as an upward facing lotus, it means it is not done as per the tenets of the Tantra and the Agama. As per the Tantra Agama, the Sahasrara is a downward facing lotus. So all the six chakras are actually sandwiched between these two chakras. So this particular Nama Tulakoti is referring to these two ends between which all the energy centers of the body fall in between. So they are the two ends, the koti, which maintains the balance of the physiological and the psychological and the spiritual aspect of a Pashu or a Jiva. So she is both the Kulapadma, which is driving the Kundalini from the Mooladhara, and also the destination, which is the Sahasrara, okay, where we have this Aikya Anubhava, this realization of oneness with Shiva consciousness. So she is these two ends. Okay. So she is Tula Koti.
Then
The
it is
next Nama,
Kotastha,
yeah,
Kotarashraya.
Kutastha.
Kutastha, sorry.
Kutastha.
Kuta. See, the word Kuta has multiple meanings. Let us first understand what it is in the Upanishadic and the Vedic. The word Kutastha in the Upanishadic understanding stands for that eternal principle, that unchanging eternal principle. So, in the Upanishad, in the Brahma Sutra and others, you will come across this terminology called Kutastha Nitya or Kutastha Brahma. Brahma, the Supreme, which is Kutastha, which is steady, which is stable, unchanging, unevolving. Kutastha. It also means that in that particular understanding, it also implies or means that the Supreme is devoid of the power to act, which on which regard the Trika differs from the interpretation offered by the Vedanta to the Upanishad. See, let us remember when we speak of Trika, we are not Veda Bhakya. In the sense, we are not outside the purview of the Vedas. Just like the Advaita Vedanta interprets the Upanishad in a way which is completely tangential to how, let's say, Madhvacharya interprets that in the Dvaita system. And a different explanation is offered by Ramanujacharya in the Vishtadvaita system. And Nimbarka offers it differently. Vallabhacharya offers a different explanation. The school of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu school, they have a slightly different, which is more in line with the Madhvacharya's explanation. All these are the interpretations offered to the Upanishads. So, to a person who belongs to that particular sampradaya, he will hold that interpretation to be the most closest and truthful to the original text, which are the Upanishads or the Veda or the Vedanta. So, for a person who follows the Advaita Sampradaya, It is the explanation offered by Shankara, which is the best way of looking at that particular text. So this does not take away the right of a person who follows, let's say, Madhvacharya, his right of the claim over the Upanishadic interpretation. To him, what Madhvacharya interpreted is the right way of interpretation. The Trika is, when we say Trika is not Veda Bhakya, the Trika is also looking at the reality, because Vedas are also the words emanating from Shiva in the form of Shrikanta Rudravani. So the Tantragama and the Vedas do not contradict each other. You require an Acharya to help us understand and iron out the so-called apparent differences. And that was done by numerous Acharyas, starting from Maharshi Durvasa all the way up to Swami Lakshmana. So the way that we look at the, the terms occurring in the Upanishads are in line with the teachings propagated in the Agamas, in the teachings given directly by Shiva in the form of Shiva Sutra and others, and as explained by Acharya Utpaladeva or Abhinavagupta. So, coming back to the word Kutastha, we will look at the word Kuta to mean the peak or the tip, because the word Kuta also means the tip of a triangle or a tip of a mountain. I'm sure all of you or most of you must have visited Mata Vaishno Devi's Mandir. The temple is located in a region which is called as Trikuta Parvata. So the name of that place is Trikuta Parvata. The meaning of the word Trikuta is three peaks. So the mountain ranges and that particular spot where there are three peaks. It is Trikuta. But it is not that physical triangle or a physical mountain that we are referring to by the word Kuta. If you have observed any yantra, especially Shri yantra, you will see that innermost is the point emerging from a triangle outside. Okay? So that point or a dot, it is called as a Baindava Sthana, the Bindu. Bindu or Bindu is that supreme consciousness which is Anadi Ananta. That is why it is represented by the dot or a circle, if we want to understand. See, there is no start or end to a circle, right? You can start anywhere and you can end anywhere. And it is complete. It is paripurna. Okay. So all these are the symbols, or rather, the circle is the symbol of all these aspects of the Supreme. And it will be hosted, okay, on the innermost triangle. This innermost triangle is the first expansion of Chit Shakti into Prapancha. We have already seen this, but in this context, let me explain. When Parashiva is enjoying his bliss of existence, he is called as the Anashrita Shiva or Tattvadita Tattva. But when the desire to manifest as the world is generated in him, then we speak of the 36 tattvas, in which the Shiva tattva, his reflective awareness or the Vimarsha is the Shakti tattva. And what is the Vimarshanam that is taking place? The Vimarshanam that is taking place is that let me be many. Aham bahusyam prajayeyam. So that first desire is called as the Adya Spanda. So this is that Spanda. Let me be. Okay. So he is and he wants to become. So it is called as a Spanda because you are getting 2 points from being to becoming. And then when this being to becoming becomes established in him, there is a creative process that is taking place within him, expanding his three other Shaktis inherent, which is Icha, Jnana, and the Kriya, which will result in the final culmination in the manifestation of all the tattvas right up to the Prithvi Tattva. That is why the triangle is Icha, Jnana, Kriya, and the end result is the Prapancha all the way up to the Prithvi Tattva. So that ninth avarna or the outermost avarna in the or the enclosure in the Sri Yantra, you'll see is the three concentric squares. You'll see squares, okay, with open doors. That is considered as a one set, and it is called as Bhupura. Bhu means earth. So Shiva becoming the now undergoing the process of manifestation right up to the Prithvi Tattva is how we understand the Sri Yantra. So that innermost triangle is Icha, Jnana and the Kriya. Established within this Kuta. Okay? Established within this Kuta is the supreme principle. So he is Kutastha. The supreme being who manifests himself through his Icha, Jnana and the Kriya Shakti. So this is how we look at the term Kutastha. So how are we differing? We are differing here because of that Swatantriya and Kriyatmakata which Shiva is eternally endowed with. He has that absolute independence or autonomy to perform and he acts. Okay, so this is how we differ. So she is the Kutastha. She is that supreme principle enshrined within the triangle.
Triangle.
Kutastha. Yes, Rakesh.
No, nothing. Kotarashriya.
Yeah. So the next name is Kotarashraya. Kotara is normally the hollow in the tree. It's a natural formation that we see in the tree and dwelling place for the birds. Okay, multiple birds. Normally, we are accustomed to see an owl, in many of the paintings and story descriptions, living in the hollow of the tree. So the hollow of the tree is called as Kotara. So Devi is called as Kotarashraya. Okay, so it is very obvious we are not referring to the hollow of the tree per se when we use the word Kotara. So the way that we look at the word Kotara here is something which is deep, something which is hidden, camouflaged. The beauty of the hollow is that it is camouflaged. So it's a perfect hiding place. and whatever lives there is undetected. And all these all these description in an adhyatma or a spiritual uh, manner, it satisfies the Mooladhara Chakra. There she resides as the Kundalini Shakti. So when we call Devi as Kotarashraya, we are referring to her existence as Kundalini Shakti within the Mooladhara triangle. Here also she is living in triangle only. Mooladhara is triangular in shape. Okay. So she is Kotarashraya.
Swayambhu
Swayambhu. Swayam herself. Bhu becomes. So normally Swayambhu is self-manifest.
self-manifested.
This differentiates her from any other. See, when we say that the entire world or the entire cosmos is Shiva, we are trying to differentiate the way that we look at Karya Karana Bhava in the world from how Shiva manifests. I'll tell you the difference. In the sphere of duality, normally for any effect, you will require a cause. So this cause and effect relationship is a very deeply debated subject in all the schools of Indian philosophy, all the darshans. This Karya Karana Bhava. Okay. So Karya Karana. Karya effect. Karana the cause. So if you take a pot as an effect, okay, ghata or a pot as an effect, what are the karanas that you can say? You can probably say the earth or the clay
Nimit karana
as
and
a karana.
apadana karana.
Ah. So there is one material cause and there is one efficient cause.
Correct.
Okay. Upadana karana is the material cause. That is, it is the clay which is becoming the pot. And there is a nimitta karana, which would be the potter, which would be the potter's wheel and water,
The stick.
all the way up to the donkey that carries the clay to the potter's house. They are all nimitta karanas, including kala, okay, time, space. They are all nimitta karanas. But it is the clay which is becoming the pot. It is the upadana karana. So in the sphere of duality, the product is defined by the characteristics of its upadana, of its material cause. And the subject matter of debate is whether the effect inheres in the cause or it is created anew. It's a very interesting debate. I don't want to go into a lot of details, but
Sorry,
I'll tell you
Shekharji, can you repeat what you said?
whether the effect inheres in the cause previously or whether the effect is created newly from the cause.
Okay.
They discuss the pitfalls of accepting both. They say that if you say that it is created completely new, then the problem that they are raising is, why should only clay create a pot? Why not pot come out from milk? So they give an alternate. They say, look, the pot is already there in a clay in a very different potential form. It is not there in its effective kinetic form. but it is there in a potential form. Only because of this reason, it is only the clay which can produce a pot and not milk.
It's a
Or,
transformation.
yeah, it is the milk that will become curd and not anything else. So, this is one argument. The other argument they say is, if the effect is already inherent in the cause, then, and the explanation given is, when certain nimittas, okay, when certain circumstances come together, the cause emerges, the effect emerges out from the cause. Okay, so if the potter comes and beats the clay and puts it on the wheel and shapes it using water and all those things, all these are the nimittas which will fashion the pot out of the clay. In in all these discussions, you see that there is no role other than a miscellaneous role being attributed to a conscious entity, right? Here in this case, the potter, all right? Or if you are turning a milk into curd, it is someone who is pouring the first drop of the curd into the milk to turn it into curds. They are not at all there in the discussion. They are dismissed as nimittas. And there are so many nimittas. Like I said, even a donkey is a nimitta. So this discussion of cause and effect in the six systems of the Astika philosophy, as we have been habituated to study, though I don't agree with this classification in first place, is that in all these, the study is of Karya Karana Bhava. Whereas Acharya Abhinav Gupta introduces a very, very pertinent way of looking at this entire uh, evolution. He changes. He says he does not accept that you can even understand the creation process using the theory of Karya Karana Bhava. So he introduces something called the Karma Kartru Bhava. Karta means the conscious entity. And why it is important for us who follow Trika is because the object of knowledge is not subject independent. The object is
Correct.
always subject dependent.
Correct.
So without introducing the karta into the process, you cannot explain the karya. And this has been explained very beautifully by Swamiji in one of the lectures. What it means to ascribe Karya Karana Bhava and how it suffers from the inadequacies and how this was removed and replaced by the Karma Kartru Bhava by Acharya Vinod. So, coming back to the Nama, Swayambhu, he himself transforming. For this Karma Kartru Bhava, Karta, okay, does not require anything else to become the effect. The normal example given in the Upanishad is that of a spider. Yathorna Nabha. Okay, just as the Urna Nabha, the spider, does not require anything else to create the web because it's only using its own spit, okay, which is coming from him. Similarly, okay, only to that extent we should understand the example. Examples only serve that much. All right. So similarly, Shiva manifests the entire prapancha from within. The only difference between the spider example and Shiva creating the world is that after the spider has brought forth the web from its spit, the spider and the web are different. Whereas in the original case of Shiva manifesting as the Prapancha, even after that, there is non-difference and non-separatedness between Shiva and the Prapancha.
Correct.
So, this entire Prapancha is brought forth from within. So, she or he is the source of this entire Prapancha. So, she is called as Swayam Bhu, one who becomes. So,
Of
from
himself.
being, he becomes.
From himself.
Swayambhu.
Yeah.
Yeah, from himself. So, she is Swayambhu. Next now is
Swayambhuscha Swarupacha.
Swarupa. Ah, Swarupa. The word Rupa normally is for form. Okay. It comes from the dhatu rupyate. That on a very technical way, if we want to understand what Rupanam is, it means fixing the boundaries. Say, for example, how will you understand when I come and stand in front of you, or you are seeing me on the screen? How do you understand, or how do you recognize it is Shekhar appearing on the screen? It is because of certain form, okay, and this form is limiting the space around me to a particular field in a particular manner. That is why if someone else is standing next in front of me or next besides me, you can still differentiate Shekhar from the other person. Because the other person, the way that he has or his boundaries are fixed in the space, the features, etc., the facial features, all that is different from mine. So this is called as Rupanam. Rupanam is demarcating a particular form from the larger background. And this is what we do in painting also. The painting, or if you are sketching, originally it was only white sheet of paper or a canvas. Then you used a black charcoal or a pencil. You first define the boundaries, then you draw the contours, and you shaded, and then the final sketch is ready. You are able to recognize. And when you do this, you also affix a name to it. So Rupa always corresponds to a Nama. Rupa always corresponds to a Nama. So Nama and Rupa always go hand in hand. You cannot have one without the other. You can say that you don't know. If I show you a very new object, you can probably say that you don't know. But the moment you have seen the shape of that particular object, okay, if you know the name, you will immediately associate the name. If you don't know the name, you will associate a general name called unknown to it. Either of the two cases, a name and the form, okay, are associated. These are called as labels in the darshanas, in the philosophy. And labels are called as vikalpas in the Trika Shastra. This name and the form are the first form of vikalpa, which conditions our experiences. So when we speak of Devi as Surupa, we are referring to her function of causing the labels because of the Pancha Kanchukas. She is creating the labels by which we are going to analyze and judge our experiences. Please remember, all our cognitive experiences in the state of duality are judgmental in nature. You might hear one word that I am speaking or a sentence that I am speaking immediately after cognizing that statement. You either like it, you don't like it, you are indifferent to it or something. So always every cognitive activity is judgmental because it is being colored by our previous samskaras.
Correct.
And the entire effort of the sadhana as per the Trika or the Kaula Shastra is how to have experience without judgments. How to rise above the vikalpas. For that, Acharya Abhinavagupta says, first, there are two types of vikalpas, Shuddha vikalpas and Ashuddha vikalpas. We hold on to Shuddha vikalpas, such as mantra, sadhana, puja, saparya, and all that. And then that purifies the mind and buddhi to an extent that we are able to rise where without a vikalpa you can have a cognition, a bodha. So we reach the state of nirvikalpa. Whereas in our daily parlance, whatever vikalpas we are having, they are ashuddha vikalpas. So in order to remove the ashuddha vikalpas, we use the shuddha vikalpas. Just like we use the soap to remove the dirt and then finally wash away both of them from the clothes.
But Shekharji, I have one question here. Sorry. Can the cognition happen without the mind?
Yes, it will happen. Because mind is not causing the cognition. Mind is only processing the cognition through the lens of vikalpas. Because we are so much habituated, Rakesh ji, to seeing the object different from us.
Correct.
We think that the cognition itself is impossible without this threefold difference of jnata, jnaya, and jnana.
Correct.
The whole parapara or para state is where you transcend this jnata, jnaya, jnana difference.
Mm-hmm.
Where you yourself become the source of the cognition.
Correct. But even to describe that is a vikalpa, right?
Yes, when you want to describe to others, it is vikalpa.
Correct. Mm.
So a jnani will use vikalpa to explain. Because we will not understand otherwise. See, a communication is when the person who communicates, whatever he is wanting to, he has to be clear, and I should also get it in the exact same manner. So for that, the jnanis will always use the vikalpas. The entire shastras are vikalpas only in that way. But like I said, they are all Shuddha vikalpas. And nirvikalpa is personal, immediate experience.
Yeah.
You don't explain it to anyone. You cannot say how I felt. No, in the state of Shiva consciousness. You cannot do it. If you start attempting it, then you have not had it. As simple as that.
Correct.
Or probably you are using labels for simplifying and imagination for the others. Simple. So this Nama, Surupa, Devi is creating the Vikalpas through the Pancha or Shat Kanchukas for us to experience the world of Nama and Rupa. In the Upanishad also this analogy is, or not analogy, sorry. This principle of Nama Rupa is very closely examined. So she, being the Swayambhu, she has to create the Vikalpas also. But is she as, or is her nature the way that we are understanding through this Vikalpa? That is clarified in the next Nama, Swarupa.
Correct.
Surupa, Swarupa. Swarupa in the Swatva, okay, in the state of being oneself. The Rupanam is not comprehensible for neither for me nor for others. That is, I cannot comprehend any Vikalpas in the state of transcendent experience, because the moment you say transcendent experience, it is the absence of the Vikalpas that we are talking of. And if you are having Vikalpas, it is the state of duality. So Surupa is the state of duality where we are having experiences with the Vikalpas. Swarupa is where there is a complete cessation of the Vikalpas in the experience of oneself. So she is Swarupa.
Rupavardhani.
Rupa Vardhini. We understand this Nama at a very general level. It means someone who helps or who is responsible for creation of beauty in the world. Or Vardha means to grow, okay, to cause an increase, to swell. So one who causes swelling, okay, of rupa, of form or of beauty. Because the word rupa is also understood in the sense of beauty. When we say rupavati, it means someone who is very beautiful. So rupavardhini, one who adds to the rupa, okay, or one who uh, magnifies the rupa. At the understanding this nama at the adhyatma level, we have already seen that she is the one who is causing all the rupas to even emerge. So she is Rupa Vardhini. You can also see that in Sandhi, in Sanskrit, the Sandhi plays a very beautiful role. If you have studied the Shiva Sutra, the first Shiva Sutra is Chaitanya Mahatma. The second sutra is Jnanam Bandhaha. Now, this word Jnanam or this sutra Jnanam Bandhaha is interpreted in two different ways. Jnanam Bandhaha, Ajnanam Bandhaha.
Jnanambandha.
How is it done? Ajnanam, for Ajnanam, we use that Chaitanya Mahatma Jnanam Bandhaha. If you see it as a Sandhi, then the A at the end of Atma and A in the beginning of Ajnana, they have merged together and formed a Sandhi. So, in the olden days, now I do not know whether the practice is still alive. In the olden days, the sutras used to be recited standalone. We will do the Sutra Parayana. So, while doing the Sutra Parayana, Chaitanya Mahatma Jnanam Bandhaha, that is how it will be. So, Chaitanya Mahatma Jnanam Bandhaha, Chaitanya Mahatma Ajnanam Bandhaha, both will be pronounced only as Chaitanya Mahatma Jnanam Bandhaha. So when Acharya Kshemaraja interprets Jnanam, Ajnanam, he is falling back on this principle of Sandhi that is taking place. Similarly, if you do the Sandhi, okay, this nama would not be Rupavardhini, it will be Arupavardhini. Swarupa Arupavardhini. Okay. So Swarupa Arupavardhini, the A, okay, in this nama and the A in the Swarupa, they would have had the Sandhi. So when we look at it as Rupavardhini, one who is responsible for creation of this, when we look at this nama as Arupavardhini, she is the one who is responsible for the internal transformation or the growth of the sadhaka, leading to the state of Arupa, leading to a state where you are not confining yourself to any labels. So, she is Arupa Vardhini. That is the Adhyatmic way of looking at this particular noun. Otherwise, she is responsible for all that is beautiful in this manifestation. Yes, that is also a very beautiful perspective of looking at the Nama. Right. The next Nama is
What?
Tejasvini.
Tejaswini.
Tejas normally means light. So Tejaswan, masculine form, one who is endowed with light. Tejasvini is the feminine form of that word. So anything which is endowed with light, brilliance, luster is Tejasvini or Tejaswan. So Devi is called as Tejasvini because she is the source of all that luminosity in the world. There is a very beautiful Upanishadic mantra which actually we use in the puja at the time of doing the arati. See, what are we doing in puja while showing arati? We are lighting one or multiple lamps as the tradition may be. And we are showing that lamps to the Devi. This is called in Sanskrit as Aratrikam. The word Aratrikam has become corrupt and it has become Arati in the common usage. The word is Aratrikam. Okay. And we are using this earthly fire. But the mantra is very beautiful. The mantra says, Na tatra suryo bhati, na chandra tarakam, nema vidyuto bhanti, kutoyam agnihi, tasya bhasa sarvamidam vibhati. Okay. So it says, Na tatra suryo bhati. In the domain of Parashiva, who is that eternal Prakasha. Here, Prakasha is not just that physical brilliance. Yes, it is physical. At the same time, it is that light of consciousness, the light of awareness. In that, this physical Surya that we are seeing, that sun has no sustenance there because of two ways. Number one, the sun itself derives its existence from the Supreme. Number two, if you see that there are two sources of light and one is so intense than the other, you will not be able to see this second source of luminescence. Okay, so this is normally in the this thing, thousands of crores of sun rising. All right. Now, in crores of sun rising is an analogy by which you understand that this sun that you are seeing is फीका पड़ गया उसके सामने. Okay, it's no longer brilliant in front of that supreme. So natatra suryo bhati, nor the sun shines, na chandra, nor the moon, na tarakam, nor the stars, not even the lightning. Okay, when all these don't shine in front of the supreme, kutaha ayam agnihi. How will this small fire, okay, illuminate the deva? Kutoyam agnihi. Because we have to remember, tasya bhasa sarvamidam vibhati. All these sources of light that we have enumerated, sun, moon, stars, vidyut, agni, Tasya bhasa vibhati. They are all shining with his light. So this is the mantra which is used for doing the Aratrika. So she is the source of all luminosity. So she is Tejaswini. We'll stop here,
Yeah,
Rakesh.
okay, sure, sure. This
Uh,
Aratrika, what you said, what is this text actually?
this is from the Upanishad, I'll tell you. I am not sure. It is there in Mahanarayana Upanishad, but Mahanarayana Upanishad is